I'll tell you this, though, my friends. If you are just now joining us, you are just in time. Because it's time that we get to that goddamn grains of sand. You got it. That's what I'm talking about. Now, guys, in grains of sand, as you know already, we're talking international diplomacy out here for a few minutes. And largely, we're talking about the incumbent Cold War that we're dealing with and how much we don't want it to end up being a hot war, man.
Yeah. Do you use the graphic?
I did use the graphic. I just,
Okay,
you know,
good.
it was all integrated nicely. But now that we're breaking with the fucking flow here, Ivrasia has subscribed for the 4th month. Thank you very much. Now, guys,
All right.
a lot of what we've been talking about recently has to do with the proxy government, in effect, that China has set up with Iran. They found a country that was weakened economically, found ways to kind of push their will onto it. And what we talked about before was that if you were getting funding from China, weapons technology from Russia, and uranium from Venezuela, all of those things we've seen Iran do recently, then it's finally not impossible to think that they could have a nuclear weapon, where before that seemed almost comical. I mean, for Christ's sakes, you're having your religious oligarchy run your fucking military. That's never gonna fucking work, but with certain backing can make it happen. So recently, one of the things that we've been dealing with here in the States is whether or not we want to rejoin the Iran nuclear deal. Okay, some glimmers of hope for reviving the nuclear accord. Now, the problem was we really got the short end of the stick on the original deal. We didn't like it, so we moved on. It's not impossible to think that we could do it again, but what was happening there really wasn't gonna fucking work. Really wasn't gonna fucking work for the United States, man.
Yeah.
But Iran has been really bold about this shit recently, and all of their people and all of their constituents and their allies in the region are all very excited for the United States to sign a no questions asked deal and just go back to the original agreement without any changes, without any movement, without us getting any more of what we need to make this deal workable for the people in the United States. And how did they get so goddamn bold? How did they get so emboldened by this? Well, Iran and China just recently signed a 25-year cooperation agreement. We talked about this a little bit last week, and they couldn't be happier that now they have huge backing and they're able to do it publicly. China and Iran, both subject to U.S. sanctions, signed a 25-year cooperation agreement on Saturday to strengthen their long-standing economic and political alliance.
25 years, dude.
Yeah, and you wonder why they're getting so fucking bold in their dealings with the United States recently. Iranian leaders are pressed to disclose details of their 25-year China pact. Yeah, guess what they had to say to it? They're not disclosing shit. They're not letting anybody in. They're not abiding by sanctions, and they've already got the fucking wool pulled over the eyes of the United Nations. We saw what happened with the fucking Human Rights Council, and that's a goddamn shame if you ask me. So with their, now they have strength, their new level of confidence and power, now they're trying all kinds of fucking crazy shit out there and just seeing what we'll actually react to, because at this point, we done whipped ourselves. We spent so much fucking time arguing with each other, we never goddamn get anything done anymore, man.
Yep.
And so one of their other allies in the region, our friends in Russia, they see encouraging signs from the United States on the Iran nuclear deal. Those encouraging signs are with regards to finding a compromise and returning to the Iran nuclear deal. It's great that it says that, but if you read further into it, what they're excited about is that as far as they can tell, the United States isn't going to ask for any changes. We're just going to fucking sign it and let the chips fall where they may. And I do not think that is a particularly smart idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
it is not a very smart
what's
idea.
What's great for these people when they've set up these proxies to distance themselves and distance their liability when it comes to a nuclear conflict with Iran, and make no mistake, they are the fall guy in this situation. It's no surprise that major powers are absent as Iran nuclear tour begins. That's funny, man. A weekly tour of Iran's nuclear sites appears set to go ahead without Russia, China, the European Union, or key allies Turkey and Brazil. Now that's interesting. So they are going to have a tour of their nuclear facility, but the people that we know are their allies are not going to be there. That, my friends, is what we call plausible deniability. Nobody can prove that they were there to see that anything fucking went wrong. You think they don't already know what's in there? Of course they fucking do. They have no reason to implicate themselves. They're going to be at a titty bar establishing a fucking alibi as soon as Hans Bricks goes in there to see whether or not these guys have anything. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. Setting them up.
And is it a surprise that the Chinese government would lie? Are we surprised by that? They're pretending they're not affiliated with Iran. And let's not forget, right after signing a brand new fucking trade deal.
Signing a 25-year cooperation agreement, right?
25-year trade deal. And now they're acting like they don't know what the fuck's going on. Oh, they're not going to be there. They didn't see it. Blah, blah, blah. But, you know, are we so surprised? They were like, this is the Chinese government. Look at this. A Chinese zoo embarrassed for after attempting to pass off a golden retriever as an African lion. Chinese government. Come on, man. Nobody was buying it when you said that you weren't financially backing Iran's nuclear program, and no one's buying it when you're saying that that fucking pooch right there is actually a goddamn lion. That's a big X doubt.
Scary looking lion there, G.
On the left, I know he's
on
terrifying.
the left, yeah, he's terrifying. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you know, it's not just at home and abroad and with all of these military policies things, and it's not just the fucking zoo. It's gone in all directions because these guys are emboldened by our lack of action, right? Russia and China Russia and China seek to tie America's hands in space. Biden should avoid the treaty trap set by Moscow and Beijing. That is 100% accurate. They are years behind us. Why do we need a treaty with them? No. Let's go put a flag down.
Pass.
That's going to be a hard pass for me, man. We need to go down there, put down a fucking flag, set up a mall and a strip club and a casino, and, you know, not worry about what the fuck these guys have to say because you're too fucking late. But they're so emboldened by our laction here terrestrially, now they think they can move that shit into space too. God damn, man.
Fuck a bunch of that.
Yeah, it seems like a Cold War is slowly heating up, friends. Top U.S. national security officials call counterparts as Russia and Ukraine tensions rise. So again, we see a scenario where a strong country leans on a weaker financial country nearby to allow themselves better military footing in the region. We've watched China do that for over a year. Russia, their buddies, you know, remember when Russia and China pretended they were fighting and nobody believed it? Well, now they're both manifesting their destiny together while they both walk away from the American space program. And, you know, just to fucking further that point, as Russia leans on the Ukraine, that's a CCP tactic. It's almost like there would be Chinese military officials in Russia in order for them to have an idea like that. China sends soldiers to Russia for Snowy Mountain Challenge. This is Fallout 3. I don't know if anybody's ever played Fallout 3, but I mean, look at this guy. That is Fallout 3. You can even go in one of them hollow chairs and play this fucking mission. Battle of Anchorage.
War never changes.
War never changes, dude. That sucks having icicles on your eyelashes, though. That's a bummer, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So, as long as we're talking about leaning on weaker financial countries out there, China, that's been their MO recently. And let's not forget who they've made sure to, quote-unquote, help here recently. In the dark, China offers to help Venezuela restore their electricity. Really? So, oil-rich Venezuela, who keeps exporting nuclear material and jet fuel to countries that are being financed by China, now has a infrastructure crisis that the Chinese government is going to swoop in and help them with.
Oh no.
You ever had a bank lien before? You ever had credit card debt where they were calling you trying to get that fucking money back? Now, what does Venezuela think it's going to do running a joint like this? Oh, business is bad? Fuck you, pay me. Place got hit by lightning, huh? Fuck you, pay me. Oh, you had to send all your nuclear material to Iran? Fuck you, pay me. You think China's not going to put the squeeze on this country, who, by the way, has money that is so worthless that they have to weigh it instead of count it? And China don't see that as easy fucking pickings? Come the fuck on, man. Come the fuck on. And then, as if China leaning on everybody, putting the we've seen them force motherfuckers to smile as they fuck them in the ass here recently, and it just keeps going and keeps going. China is pleased that the ASEAN, I know they do it as an acronym, but it's actually, it does stand for something. It's like Asian Southeast something, I can't, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, right? So the ASEAN has adopted a non-interference policy toward Myanmar. We've talked about that a little bit here recently. There's been a bit of a coup in Myanmar, so they are weak politically and financially as they fight with each other. That should sound a little bit familiar to those of you that live in the United States. And China is glad that everybody else in the region is keeping their hands out of the conflict. Can you guess why? Because if you allow a country to beat itself, you could just walk in and get the fucking W. I'll be damned if in the next year we don't see the Chinese military putting the same lean on Myanmar that they putting on Taiwan and Hong Kong and Venezuela and Iran. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This is another fucking card in the hand for them, man.
That's their MO, dude. That's what they do.
It really is. So you got to start asking the real questions, man. Is China preparing for war over Taiwan? Yeah, it pretty much looks like that's the case. But let us not forget, friends, war with Taiwan ain't even really about motherfucking war with Taiwan. It's about war with the United States. Right? Putting pressure on Taiwan, who the United States has allied with and said they will defend in the past, is really only putting pressure on the United States. Taking over Taiwan would only be a small step for the Chinese government. The larger prize is still to be had, and that's really what a lot of this is about. And if you want to boil that all down, I can give you the talk about OPEC versus NATO prices if you'd like to hear how this is all about oil, but that's for another fucking show, man. Meanwhile, you know how these countries love to get real fucking ballsy, and go out there and start warning the United States military. Remember that? They were warning us.
We warn you.
That's 100% the case. Well, it turns out they weren't getting where they wanted to get by warning us. So now their plan is to warn our allies. China media warns Japan against siding with the U.S. over Taiwan. So again, is the question whether or not they want to go to war with Taiwan? Yeah, I think that they do, but it's not about Taiwan. It's about the United States, and it's about their dominance in the region. And if Japan so much as tries to pipe up when the Chinese military nukes all of Taiwan just to get at the U.S. military, they'll fucking bomb their asses too. You know what I mean? They don't give a fuck. They kill their own citizens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
So that's land and sea, but land and air, but how about sea? Well, with swarms of ships, Xi Jinping and the Beijing Bling tighten its grip on the South China Sea. It's basically barricade. Bro, it's wall to wall out there now. They are in control of that region's waterways. We've already seen how they are illegally fishing out of other countries' food supplies. Who do you think they're feeding with all that fucking fish? These guys.
Oh, man.
And, you know, it's a good thing that I live here domestically, where a lot of people in the United States like to go, I fucking hate it here because it's not perfect, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but we can talk about all this shit. You can get on Twitter with your iPhone you bought at a store and preach the virtues of communism like a 7th grader all day long if you want to. And I can come out here and talk about how the Chinese government is looking to incite a hot war with the United States because that is the nature of our freedom here in this country, and it's not that case over there. The grim reality of reporting in China that pushed me out, okay, extremely poorly phrased sentence with this, but what I will say is that anybody that goes there to try to report on what's happening, they get sued for slander, they get arrested, they get deported. China just does not want any outsiders talking about what they're doing over there. And now it's not just in big China that they're able to do that. They're moving on to little China as well. Convicted in Hong Kong, China sends the message that if we can get them, we can get you too. And ain't that the damn truth? So now any pro-democracy, I know, anything pro-democracy that happens in Hong Kong is being prosecuted as if it happened in mainland China. And they are winning. They are winning because Hong Kong does not have the resources witnesses to stand up against that. A Hong Kong court Thursday convicted Jimmy Lai, Martin Lee, and 5 others of organizing or taking part in a pro-democracy protest. The next time you want to tell me I hate it here because you live in the United States, think about the freedom you have to even say the words you hate it here. They don't fucking have that in Hong Kong, man. So don't tell me to go soft on the fucking CCP, because let's remember who's running the show over there, man. And take it back just a couple of years. If you have forgotten, let me refresh your memory. China's Xi Jinping is allowed to remain president for life as term limits are removed. So when all of this happens and you question, how is there no accountability in the government? How is it that the citizens can't vote somebody else in and make these changes? They don't deserve this. How is it that things keep going this far in the direction of supporting an elitist government class that has everything while they destroy 5,000 years of Asian culture in order to do it? Well, it's this motherfucking Xi Jinping who is president for life. So again, if you tell me to go soft on the CCP, I'd love to remind you of who else was president for life.
I'm not a criminal. I'm an artist working in an unpopular medium. Can I just speak to you? I mean, really speak to you, like man to man. I've known you for a long time, and I know about your penchant for spying on me.